Welcome back, guys. This is Gaming with Alston. And today, we're on episode 77, I think. Give or take. Episode 77. What the fuck is going on? Should be fine. Good. What we're gonna do is continue adding more windows to this. Sorry, I'm doing this close to like in the middle of the night. I was making a roller coaster in one of the software I was using, like Ultimate Coaster X. There's a software. And I was trying to. The reason I was taking so long on that is because precision is crucial. Be as precise as you can. Have you ever heard of the importance of precision? Yeah. It's always crucial to have some fat in reserve, even if food is really abundant. Because some of your fat reserves are crucial for the absorption of vitamin D from your skin. You can only absorb the vitamin D you produce if you have enough subcutaneous fat. If you have very little subcutaneous fat, it's gonna be hard for your on your bones without that fat beneath your skin. The more subcutaneous fat you have, the more vitamin D you can absorb from your skin. As vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. I wonder what it would be like if I worked for List 25 with Michael Estrin. I'd probably do the photography part. Trying to make sure you say, I'm Mike with List. Like, and if I was working with Michael Estrin, I might think about doing bloopers too. Just to make it funny. Because kind of like German compared to other languages, bloopers. Because that's actually, because sometimes the bloopers are the funny parts that are hidden from the film. Michael Estrin is still in the process of slimming down. Because compared to back in May 2018 to today, looks like he lost a shit ton of weight. For me, even though I actually lost a lot of weight, it looks like for me, it looks like I gained a shit ton of muscle. Kind of looks like I gained a shit ton of muscle. Kind of looks like I gained a shit ton of muscle. Looks like I gained a shit ton of muscle. Someone asked me this. Whose belly is bigger? Like, if someone asked me the question, whose belly is bigger, Michael Estrin's or Eddie Hall's, the answer has to be Eddie Hall. Because Eddie Hall's got a pretty thick waist. Eddie Hall's pretty big. It's not just Eddie Hall that's pretty big. Brian Shaw's also pretty big. Someone asked, can you do a push-up challenge with Gaston from, like, at Disney World or Disneyland? Someone asked me that. I might think about doing it once I pack enough muscle on me. I might think about doing it once I pack enough muscle. I'm not ready to do one-arm push-ups. because my muscles are not strong enough for that. I can only do it with 2 arms. Right now. I can only do push-ups with 2 arms right now. Once I start bench pressing the entirety of my body weight, I'll be able to do that. Once I start bench pressing someone asked, like, who's Eddie Hall has a pretty big belly. In 2016, he had a pretty big belly. He looked extremely pregnant. His belly was so big he looked extremely pregnant. He looked extremely pregnant. Even more so than my dad. That was back in 2016, where Eddie Hall looked extremely pregnant. His belly was once extremely big. He wasn't the only one that looked pregnant. There's Zydrunas Savickas. He looked noticeably pregnant. But there's a good reason they do that, and they look pregnant. They need that muscle and fat. Imagine if I put a Photoshop Zydrunas Savickas' head on someone who had severe central obesity and sent it off to Big Zed. That'd be pretty funny. Because Ryan Shaw, might have been one of his camera crew that decided to Photoshop Eddie's head on someone with extreme central obesity. That's actually pretty funny. Cause want to be big, but I don't want to have but I don't want a big belly. Want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the HGH gut is also known as Roy gut or Palumbo gut. Why call it the Palumbo gut? Dave Palumbo was a well-known... he sported that big belly as a bodybuilder. Good thing he never went to pro. If he did, bodybuilding would be completely ruined. If he went to the pro. It was... before the world's strongest man focused on how athletic you are, it's basically a bunch of fat guys competing over who could lift the heaviest. Yeah. I may be pretty skinny, but don't judge a book by its cover. I can lift extremely heavy weight. I'm doing arm curls with 30-pound dumbbells, actually. Even though I weigh about 150 pounds. Maybe. Eventually, I might get... Once I hit 160 pounds, I'm gonna have to let the muscle mass grow before I gain any more weight. I call the bubble gut bodybuilder the Palumbo gut. Because the one was really popular that sported in bodybuilding, one of the most well-known sporters of that bubble gut is Dave Palumbo. Good thing Lee Priest will not get that bubble gut because he's natural. It only happens when you take steroids. It'll only happen when you take steroids. I call Palumbo's belly. I call the bubble gut the Palumbo gut because the most well-known bodybuilder to sport that bubble gut is Dave Palumbo. He's the one that ruined bodybuilding. He would have, if he went pro, he would have ruined it even more. That's what I wouldn't want. It's sad that Rich Piana died, but if he would have not taken steroids, he'd still be alive today. If he hadn't taken steroids. Probably. Because I know he openly admits to taking steroids. I know he openly admits to taking steroids. In countries with extremely strict drug laws like South Korea, those strict drug laws would probably drive some of the steroid-using bodybuilders into claiming fake natty. They would do it more for practical reasons. There are some bodybuilders that claim fake natty. Sometimes they would do it because they're selfish, lying assholes. Sometimes they would do it to troll people. I think, for some people, there are more practical reasons they'd claim fake natty. Like, in Chol Soon's case, of why he claims fake natty, some of it has to do with the fact that he's from South Korea. When it goes to illegal drugs, drug laws in South Korea are a lot stricter than they are in America. Which means bodybuilders that take steroids that live in South Korea are probably more inclined to claim fake natty. To tell the police they don't do those drugs when in fact they're obviously on steroids. And or SARMs. With David Lade, he's probably not natty. Because you gotta think, in some of his pictures in which he's in his underwear, you probably don't see his scrotum. That's a pretty obvious sign. There's people out there who claim fake natty. And Chol Soon's with Tristan Lee, he's one of the exceptions, like, when it goes to, like, one of the reasons why people question Tristan Lee's natty status is because of how shredded he is. But those people are not taking, who think he's on steroids, are not taking his height into account. He is really short. And shorter guys tend to have an easier time packing on muscle and filling out their frame. Which means that in his transformation photos, even though it looks like he gained a shit ton of muscle, he didn't gain much actual muscle mass. A lot of it has to do with the fact that he's pretty short. Compare him to a lot of the other bodybuilders like Uzoma Obalor. He's pretty short. He's pretty tiny. Which is why I call him Tiny Tristan. Because of how tiny he is. Which is why I call him Tiny Tristan. Plus, he is Asian, and Asians, it's not just Japanese people that can't store a lot of, that usually cannot store a lot of fat. Even Chinese people find it hard to store subcutaneous fat, which means that even though they actually didn't gain much real muscle at all, it looks like if they gained a shit ton of muscle. might eventually I might think about calling in Tristan Lee so I could do a workout video with him. And some photo shoots with Tristan Lee. As well as Uzoma Obalor. AKA Uzuma Overlord. In the off-season, Uzoma looks like a frickin' cloud. One of the most obvious signs that you're natural is that when you do the stomach vacuum, you tend, after cutting down, you're gonna end up flattening out. Which is a pretty obvious sign that you're natural. Which is a pretty obvious sign that you're natural. Blood gushing out of... With Uzoma Obalor? How it looks like I packed on a shit ton of muscle, even though I actually lost a bit of weight. Some of it has to do with what I'm eating. And genetics, too. Because genetics do, in fact, play a role. Anyways, this should be it for this video. Stay tuned for episode 78 of Pyramid City. Before I go, I encourage you to support me on Patreon and follow me on social media for more content like this. This is Gaming with Alston signing off. I encourage you to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for more content like this. If you want content updates like this. And as always, stay tuned for more. And, as always, choose.